Hello everyone, welcome back to another weird Telltale Games video. This was an idea that I thought of with a friend, and I thought it would be really interesting just to make this into I can't talk. I thought it would be very interesting just to make this into a video, and I really want to know everyone's thoughts and opinions about this, and so this is going to be an interactive video. I really want you guys to comment down what Telltale game you want to be brought back. But yeah. Basically, full disclaimer, I understand that Telltale Games don't own these IPs, for example. Clearly they don't own The Walking Dead anymore, and they clearly don't own Guardians of the Galaxy. But I've been seeing so much on Twitter where people have been asking just for Tales from the Borderlands, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy, Stranger Things. So I've basically been seeing people talking about how we want these games back, and Telltale Games are clearly no. So I thought this would be a fun video just to know everyone's opinion, what Telltale game do you want to be brought back? It doesn't matter if they let's pretend that you could choose any Telltale game. What Telltale game would you want brought back? So that's basically what this video is about, just a little bit of a fun video. And yeah, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna really mention only the main series of when Telltale after Walking Dead. I'm gonna talk about the series games. I'm not really gonna mention Poker Night, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park. I'm not really going to mention those games because I rather, talk about the newer ones, so I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, we're going to start with the first one, Walking Dead by Telltale Games. Telltale Games The Walking Dead. So, as we all know, Clementine's story ended in the final season, and there was a little bit of a cliffhanger about the caravan, but pretty much there really wasn't it. That was pretty much it. The game just ended there, and it kind of ended Clementine's story perfectly. Weird how she survived. I'm not gonna forget about that, but anyways, it's a happy ending. I personally like it. So I've seen a lot of people asking for a walk into season 5, and we know we're gonna get something with the comics, but I'm assuming that's gonna be non-canon. So what about a game format, for example? Would you guys want to see a game format again, where maybe they can either continue Clementine's story, or even better yet, they can continue AJ's story? That's something that I found really interesting was about AJ. They really want AJ's story to continue without Clementine, and personally I would be okay with that. But I'm pretty sure that the fan base would want Clementine either way, so there might be a little bit controversy towards having AJ only having his own story. Also, he's 6, so they have to do a massive time skip to where maybe he's 15 or something, so it won't feel a little bit odd playing as AJ. Because it was really odd playing as Clementine. She was only 11 in season 2. But I feel if you're playing with someone younger, then they're very limited to choices. That was one of the main issues with Clementine season 2, is that some decisions you got to make as Clementine didn't really matter. I think it's just part of the writing, but it felt you didn't have authority with the people in the group. So that's kind of why I'm worried if we do play as AJ. But people want to see a season 5, so let me know down in the comment section down below if you want to see a Walking Dead spin-off, Michelle maybe. It could be with anyone in the comics, or it can continue Clementine's story, or even better yet, AJ's story. I think if they were to technically make a Walking Dead game, they would technically continue it off from AJ. I understand that Skybound Games owns The Walking Dead and not Telltale, but this is just a what-if scenario. I'm just making that clear because obviously people are probably not going to understand that this is basically a dream tier list, I guess. I don't know what to call it. The next game we have is Wolf Among Us. Obviously, Wolf Among Us is getting a sequel, so I can basically check that out, but check it off the list. But I wanted to mention it just because with Walking Dead, they did so much with Walking Dead with the universe. They made 2 spin-offs. They made 400 Days DLC, and they made a Michonne spin-off, and they were experimenting with the Garcia family in season 3. So I feel Wolf Among Us would be really interesting if we got to see maybe we got to play more Snow, even though we might be doing that in the sequel. But I would love to see the universe being expanded upon. Maybe we can play as a villain. Maybe we can play as Bloody Mary, because I think I've heard some stuff that Bloody Mary is still alive, I believe. So that would be pretty cool just to play as a different character other than just Big B Wolf and a spin-off. But of course we're in season 2 first, so obviously we should just be grateful about that. Tales from the Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands is a very interesting one because obviously Gearbox has shown no interest towards making a sequel, considering they just took off the Telltale series part, and so they clearly want to have the rights to the game. But Reese was in Borderlands 3 along with Vaughn. The issue is that Fiona and Sasha were not in Borderlands 3, and it was assumed that they would be in the DLC for Borderlands 3, but so far they have not been a DLC character or shown at all in Borderlands 3. So that's kind of like what I find a little bit dumb in my opinion. I hope that they can maybe bring back these characters in like a sequel of Tales from the Borderlands 2. Obviously, I would imagine that it would continue off with Reese and Sasha. Or not Reese and Sasha, Reese and Fiona. Obviously, it would continue off. It would be after Borderlands 3. And it would definitely be very interesting just to see just those two having an insane story again. Especially with Borderlands 3. A lot of things happen at the end of Borderlands 3. I won't really spoil it in case you guys haven't seen it yet, but basically a major character died, and so they could really explore from that maybe about what they can do without that character living. So that would be pretty interesting if there were to be a Tales from Borderlands Season 2. This one I am so pissed about. I'm so pissed about this so much just because it was confirmed but then it got cancelled. So Game of Thrones Season 2. So Game of Thrones was actually a very good series I enjoyed. I enjoyed it a little bit more than Tales back then. But Game of Thrones was really interesting just because of the fact that it was based on it was based on the HBO series, which was based on the books, and obviously it was gonna get season 2. The issue with season 1 is that it left off in the cliffhanger, and they were gonna make a season 2, but then season 2 never happened. So the season 1 ending is really disappointing just because of the fact that it didn't really answer all questions. It's kind of like with Ironwrath falling to the ground and basically just being destroyed, and so I would imagine with season 2 they would want to rebuild it, and there would be no Mira. I don't think she's going to be a thing. Garrett Tuttle I think would definitely have a bigger role, and then I think Roderick and Asher would be maybe alive for like one episode or two, or maybe alive through the whole game, but they're just not playable characters. But yeah, that's what I would imagine that season 2 would do. And the reason why I think this would be interesting is because the show ended, and they're currently making a prequel spin-off of the Game of Thrones show, so it would be really interesting just to see that maybe they can continue off in the same timeline as like the show, for example, because season 2 should take place around like I think after season 5 to like the final season, I would assume. So I think they could do it, but for some reason they delayed Game of Thrones so much to prioritize their other games, which is a little bit disappointing. They've done this a lot with like prioritizing their other games for some reason. Like even the old Wolf Among Us 2 was gonna get released after the Stranger Things game, so I think they just were like pressured on like what was gonna be popular or not, so that's probably why they did that. But yeah, I definitely love Game of Thrones. I think it's definitely an awesome franchise. If they were to make a season 2, I think it would be like a little bit of a soft reboot where you don't really have to play the first season to understand the second season. You can just jump into the second season and then that's it. You don't really have to play the first season. I know that's probably not the definition of a soft reboot, but that's the best way I'm going to explain it. But yeah. Next game, Batman the Telltale series. So, funny enough, Telltale Games do own the IP to Telltale's Batman, and they did make a Shadows collection recently, so I definitely think it's most likely we'll get a Batman Season 3. I think people just need to be patient. But yeah, obviously with what happened at the end of Batman, The Enemy Within, basically Bruce Wayne could either have a choice to either continue being as Batman in Gotham City or go away with Alfred. So this would definitely, season 3 would definitely have a massive time skip because it's been so long since people played the first and second season that they're just going to do a massive time skip so you can like jump into the third season without really knowing anything. And so I would imagine that this would take maybe 5 years after the second season, and it would just continue off where Bruce would come back as Batman no matter what. So that's something I found really interesting with like the final season, oh not the final season, the second season of Batman, The Enemy Within. That's something I found really interesting, and it would be nice to explore like the ending a little bit, and maybe in the first episode where Bruce is basically kind of struggling to like maybe get back into being Batman, or he's been Batman for so long he needs like a break in a way, and it's gonna be like a lot of pressure for him. Definitely with like the relationship of Alfred, I think that'd be definitely very interesting as well. That's something I personally would love to see explored if they were to make a third season, and I definitely think that there would be major villains. I do even think that the Joker could maybe come back. I'm not sure. I would imagine that they would try to do something new, and maybe the Joker could be alongside Batman, depending how you treated him in the second season. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series. So I don't remember if I enjoyed this game. I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it, but like looking back at it now, I kind of like cringe at some moments of the game. I'm not even joking, like there's some cringy moments that I'm not going to pretend I'm a big fan of. for someone who loves the movies a lot, the Telltale series is definitely like it's definitely like different. So with the resurrection of the one family member or choice love, I don't even know, it's confusing. It would be interesting just to see them return that character maybe back for like one episode. If they were to return that one character that you got to save at the end of the episode, resurrect whatever, then they definitely would not be in the whole season. They would just be in one episode and that's it, or maybe a phone call or something. Because knowing Telltale or like the old Telltale, I know we can't really judge the new Telltale yet because we don't really know what they've done with like choices and stuff. But I would imagine that it would be too hard to implicate and add. I don't know what I was trying to say. So they would just make it simple, and so definitely with like there was another big thing that was really interesting as well. With episode 1, they defeated Thanos, and I will admit Thanos was a little bit too easy. So at the end of season 1, it did like show a teaser of Thanos possibly being alive. And so I would imagine it would be really cool to see that the Guardians are fighting Thanos maybe like throughout the whole second season. I honestly wouldn't mind that at all. I feel like Thanos should have been like the whole point of the first season instead of like just being there for episode 1. I think that's like the lost potential that they had there. But honestly, if they were to get the IP back, then I think they should definitely make a second season and have Thanos as the main villain, and not who was it? It was that girl, I forgot her name. It's been so long, guys. Like I don't remember it that well, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's definitely something they should be doing, but that's just overall my opinion. And the final game, I didn't really want to mention this because, well, I don't know, I'll just mention it. Stranger Things, the Telltale series. So obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a really big Stranger Things fan. When I first saw the show, I saw it when season 1 came out. I think my friend Jav was like, hey look, there's this show, and then I think I started watching it with him, and then I started watching a couple episodes by myself, I think is what happened. Anyways, I saw like maybe like a couple episodes, like maybe 2 for example, and then I kind of forgot about it until like season 2 came out, and then I eventually saw season 1 and season 2, and I was like, it's so good. But yeah, and then I literally binge watched season 3 all night. It was amazing. But yeah, my point is that with Stranger Things, I was really excited for this Telltale game for multiple reasons. 1, I love Telltale games, and 2, I love Stranger Things so much. It's definitely a really good franchise and series or whatever, and so I really enjoyed it a lot. So of course I was disappointed to find out when Stranger Things obviously got cancelled just because of the circumstance with Telltale games. But something interesting was that there were some concepts about the game which I'll mention. It was basically going to be set in like the summer, I believe, so it was going to be, I guess, in between season 2 and 3, which I knew already. And they were going to bring the voice actors of like the Stranger Things cast. They already voice acted apparently like half their lines, but they just never finished it. Another part is that with the Stranger Things story, it seemed kinda lame. I hate to use that word just because we obviously never got the game, but the issue with Stranger Things Telltale game is that you can't really do a lot in between seasons because you have to make sure it stays canon to the show, and so they couldn't really do anything crazy. So I feel like the only segment with like the Will's nightmare scene was really the only scene where you can like at least be a little bit like insane, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say with that, because there really wasn't like a whole lot you can really do with like just like maybe you can use Eleven's powers in certain segments, but I feel like it would have been really boring just because it was just going to be like about the last summer, and Stranger Things isn't really about that. It's about like all the drama and supernatural stuff, and I don't think they would have shown that all in the Telltale games Stranger Things, so it would have been a little bit boring. But then again, they could have developed the characters to see like where you can like see the side of them. Like for example, in season 2, I know that 11 and there was a bunch of other characters that really didn't get to interact with 11 ever since the first season, so it was kind of absent in the second season. Of course, it would have been really cool to see them interact in the third season, not the third season, in the Telltale Game spin-off, so there would have been at least a little bit of connections to see like what their backstory is, how 11 felt when she like disappeared for like a long time. But obviously there would have been really there wasn't really enough to like the Stranger Things game. Also, the models were fucking atrocious. I'm sorry to say that. Apparently this is like the beta model apparently, so this wasn't gonna be like the finalized version, I guess. But the issue is, I believe this game was going to come out in the spring, or like in like, basically it was going to come out in like months, like maybe half a year, I think, I would assume, I don't know. So if the game was going to look like this, basically, it feels like that the game was rushed and it would have been bad quality. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure the writing staff did a great job trying to write the story and trying to do something that the best they could. But I think the issue was just that they were rushed on time and that they were really limited to resources, especially since I'm assuming they're limited to resources just because the final season. I'm assuming that all the money spent was spent on like getting the voice actors more than the actual game itself. So that's like the really disappointing part. I can't really say I wish because they went bankrupt because of the financial money, but I really wish that they kind of like took proper time with each game, but obviously they were like on a time limit, so I can kind of understand where they're coming from. But maybe it's a good thing the Stranger Things game doesn't happen, but if it were to happen, I would want that again, so hey. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this like list. I didn't realize that this video was 16 minutes. There's gonna be a lot to edit, but I would love to hear your opinion about what Telltale game you guys want. And it would really mean a lot if you guys share this video with your friends. I don't really say that a lot, but I really would love to hear like everyone's opinion on like what Telltale game you would want magically back. I know obviously no one's gonna say Wolf Among Us because that's already being brought back, so you can ignore that on the list. But I was talking about like the universe, like what they could explore, a spin-off game, like the Snow Among Us or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's it for this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, I shall see you guys later in the next video. So goodbye.